I recently invested in my first ever real estate property of my dreams, and I wanted to share the 3 things that I had to consider first to make me financially ready, financially at peace to make this major decision, because these are the things that Filipinos often miss out on that could really determine if your property is going to be a burden or actually something beneficial. So let's get into it. The first thing you need to consider first that you need to master is the skill of saving consistently month on month. I realized that the muscle of saving consistently is the habit that prepared me to cover the property's monthly amortization as well. Because it's the same concept, it's the same habit and muscle of setting aside funds that you won't touch every single month, but you know that it serves a purpose for your future. You know you have mastered the skill when you already have a solid emergency fund in place that gives you peace of mind. This is the solid financial foundation that Filipinos miss out on. They tell themselves, I need to have the financial foundation first before I invest in a property. But what exactly is a solid financial foundation? And this is it. This is the financial foundation. These are the financial habits that prepared me to feel confident that, okay, because I've been consistently saving month on month, because I've been consistently sticking to my budgets, because I've been consistent in not impulsively buying, because I've been consistent in sticking to my financial system, then I know that I am ready for the next level. Because the biggest mistake I see Filipinos making is investing in real estate without having this solid financial foundation with sustainable money habits and systems in place first. I've seen this having been coaching several Filipino professionals, either those who needed to cancel or foreclose their property because they didn't have a solid emergency fund yet, or those who felt like they needed to invest out of pressure but then they weren't confident in their financial habits yet. Like, this is the first step that you need to master first, so that when you do start paying for the monthly payments for your property, it's easy. It's a no-brainer. It's something that you're like, oh yeah, that's easy because I've already been doing that. I've already been setting aside funds every month for my savings that I don't touch, that I am sure that will serve me in my future. Because here's the thing, if you don't master this solid financial foundation with the right money habits and systems in place first, what ends up happening is the property becomes a liability instead of an actual investment, instead of something that gives you that assurance and security that it will serve you in the future. So let me give an example on how I was able to build this muscle over time, because this investment is something that I made with my husband. This was a joint decision. So it wasn't just me who needed to build the muscle, it was something that my husband and I needed to agree together. It was something that would be mutual for us. So we needed to build that right financial foundation together. So what happened was, even before we decided to have a property, I already wanted us to build that muscle of saving consistently. So it was when we decided to save consistently for our travel fund. So every single month, we would set aside the same amount of savings for our travels. And at that time, all of a sudden, the pandemic happened. So we all know what happened there, and we couldn't travel, but we had that muscle of saving consistently already. So what happened was, our travel fund turned into our property fund because we couldn't use it during the pandemic. And then after the pandemic, we realized like our travel fund savings grew, that it could actually help us in doing our first down payment for the property that we want. So what happened was, because we've already built that muscle of saving consistently, when we started saving bigger for our property, because we need to now save for the lump sum payment for our property while we're paying for the monthly amortization every month. So those are 2 things that we are now preparing for. Now that we're doing that, it's not something new. It's something that we have already built our muscle around. It's something that we are ready for. So every single month, we're able to stick to the savings target that we need in order to meet our lump sum for the property, as well as the monthly amortization that we need to cover every single month. So this is what I mean, that if you're able to build the foundational skill of saving consistently and spending wisely, that's going to prepare you in investing in your first property, in giving you the peace of mind that you're able to cover all the finances attached to it with confidence. So having the solid financial foundation means that you're able to save consistently month on month. You're able to spend wisely without depriving yourself in the process. You're still able to balance enjoying the present, enjoying the fruits of your labor while saving consistently for your future. And this is something that I had mastered. This is something that my husband and I were able to master, that gave us the confidence that, okay, then we know that we'd be able to cover all of the expenses related to having a property and turning it into an investment. Having the solid financial foundation means that you have sustainable money habits and systems in place with your current income stream. This means that you don't need to get another income stream, add another side hustle just for you to save consistently, just for you to cover all of your expenses. No, because I believe that you need to master this foundational skill with your current income stream first, instead of trying to look for so many income streams that burn you out, that exhaust you. And what happens is that you constantly have to think about that I need to constantly have more income streams in order to sustain the right money habits. So this is something that my husband and I prepared for, that when we decided to reserve that property, make that down payment, we know that we'll be able to sustain it with confidence. Because I realized that when you build a solid financial foundation with sustainable money habits and systems in place, you're not going to be easily pressured by others, by society, that you need to invest in real estate because tataas na yan, mag-appreciate na yan, so you need to do it now. Instead, you know what your priorities are. You know when the right timing is. You know when is the perfect timing is for you. When you have built this solid financial foundation with sustainable money habits and systems in place, you get to also build that trust and confidence in yourself, that you know how to make wise money decisions that will ultimately prepare you to make this major decision when investing in a property. And you get to do it because you know that it's truly aligned with what you want, not because it's what's expected of you at this age, it's what's expected by you by your parents, it's what's expected by you by society. No, but it's because you trust in yourself, that you know how to make major money decisions because you're prepared for them. When I stopped being impulsive with my purchases, when I stopped being easily influenced and boodled, it also built that skill and mindset that I also know when is the right time for me to invest based on my life stage, based on my priorities, based on my income right now. That's why I'm so passionate about helping my clients in mastering this foundational skill of sustainable money habits and systems in place, because this is what prepares them to invest in their first property. This is how my client Tish, who I've interviewed on my channel, shared how when she was able to build that sustainable money habit that helped her in completely paying off her debts, achieve her six-figure savings, this eventually gave her the confidence that she's ready to invest in her first property as a future Airbnb. Another client of mine who is Winona, whom I helped in overcoming her shopping addiction and build sustainable money habits, like when she was able to finally stick to a sustainable financial system, it gave her the clarity and confidence that she could actually be ready in investing in a property. If you also want to master this foundational skill of sustainable money habits and systems in place so you could feel financially ready in investing in your first property, you could watch my free training right now, link below, on how to be financially free with one income stream as a Filipino corporate professional, freelancer, or small business owner. This is where I share how you could maximize your current income stream right now, where you could balance enjoying the now while saving for your future goals, as well as my 3-step roadmap to financial freedom that allowed me to build my first million pesos net worth of savings and investments without complicated systems and depriving myself. So if you want to access this free 90-minute training right away, just check the link in my bio and I'll deliver it straight to your inbox. Once you watch the training, you will realize that investing in your first property is way more achievable than you thought it was. Because I also thought that oh my gosh, investing in a property, million yun, how am I gonna do that? That seems so far away, that seems so impossible for me. But when you take the right step by step, when you take the first step, when you take one step at a time, and I will share that in the training, you will realize that with your current income stream right now, you could build the right financial foundation that will prepare you, that will give you the confidence that investing in your first property is actually way more within your reach, is actually way more achievable if you have the right sustainable money habits and systems in place. Second thing to consider in order to be financially ready for investing in your first property is having a roadmap to pay off your property in the next 5 to 10 years. So when it comes to paying for a property, it can take up to 10 to 20 years depending on what the payment terms are for your property. So I'll just give example for my case. When my husband and I invested in this property, in this condo loft property, is that for the first 5 years we're going to pay off the 10% of the property, and then the remaining amount will be covered through home loans. So the remaining amount, we will be paying that for the next 10 to 15 years, up to 20 years if we want to. So this means that you need to have a roadmap in paying off this property from the down payment and reservation to the furnishing of the actual property up to paying off the home loans for the next 10 to 20 years. And this is an exercise that I did with my husband. I created a whole Excel sheet that would really help us map out if we are ready to cover this amount for the property, so that before we make the down payment and reservation, this is something that we know will be able to sustain all of the expenses, will be able to cover all of the expenses related to this property. Because I noticed that sometimes we might get too caught up in like the flexible payment terms, because most of like the condos or lots, they would start off with like an enticing monthly payment, like, oh, for as low as 18,000 a month, for as low as 14,000 a month, and it seems so easy. Like for some people, there could be like 10,000 a month lang, and it's something that you're like, if you look at your income, you're like, oh, I have 10,000, maybe I just increased my income, or maybe like I could just reduce my expenses and get the 10,000. Like I can do that. Yes, you can probably do that for the first few years, but then after you get the property, after when it's turned over to you, what are the other expenses involved? What are the things that you need to maintain? Because it may seem easy for the first 3 years, but then how about for the next 10 years? How will that look like for you? What will give you the confidence that you're also able to cover that amount? So this is what I'm passionate helping my clients with, from Filipino corporate professionals to freelancers and small business owners, because they have different income situations. And it's also something that I can relate with because I came from corporate and now I have a business on my own full time. And so I help my clients in really mapping out a roadmap that will help them have the confidence that, okay, this is how much I need to save, this is how much I need to cover month on month, this is the property that I can afford, that fits within my budget, that fits within my lifestyle without depriving myself. So this specific roadmap is the same exercise that my husband and I did together that gave us the push and confidence that we can push through with the down payment for this property. So this is why I'm so passionate about helping my clients with this as well. Like, how can they create the balance of like, I can afford this property, but at the same time, it's not going to feel like a burden for me to sustain month on month. So this is my signature blueprint called the Sweet Debt Proof Life Blueprint that I guide my clients with, in giving them the roadmap and system in making sure that I have everything covered from the moment I do my down payment up to the last year I cover the home loans for the next 10 to 20 years. I know that I have a roadmap in place that would give me the confidence that this property is not going to be a burden, but actually something that would excite me, something that would be beneficial to me. So not only do I guide my clients in becoming crystal clear about which property fits their budget, fits their lifestyle, but they also walk away with a financial system that is sustainable, that is something they can easily stick to, that is aligned with funding their dream property. This exercise has helped my clients eliminate their fears and doubts around buying and sustaining a property. Rather, they walk away feeling excited and empowered, knowing that they know how much is enough for their savings and income to make this property happen. When you have this crystal clear roadmap, you will realize that buying your first property is way more achievable than you thought. I have this client who came to me with this struggle of like, I want to invest in a property, but then I keep doubting myself na kaya ko ba? I can't even save consistently. I'm always impulsive with my spending. So how can I even trust myself na kaya ko ma-afford to, na kaya ko i-sustain to? So first, we addressed how can you build the muscle of saving consistently and overcome impulsive buying, because we talked about like that is the solid financial foundation that you need to have in place first. And so when I was able to guide her around that, I helped her overcome her limiting beliefs around being doubtful of herself, being doubtful of sticking to the right money habits, and overcoming the limiting beliefs that she had around money that has been preventing her from dreaming big, that has been preventing her from preparing for these kinds of major money decisions. And then from there, I helped her create a roadmap and financial system that gave her the confidence in knowing what's enough for her to cover her dream property, from the savings she needs, from the income that she needs. And after a few one-on-one coaching sessions together where I guided her through that exactly step by step, that is customized, personalized to her income, to her situation, to her life stage, to the property that she wants, she realized like, oh my gosh, kaya ko pala. So she went from kaya ko ba to now telling me that kaya ko pala. And this is the power of having a solid financial foundation where you have sustainable money habits and systems in place, as well as a crystal clear roadmap in funding your dream property. So if you also want that personalized support for building sustainable money habits and systems, as well as having a tailor-fit roadmap for investing in your first property, then I would love to invite you inside my coaching program, Fund Your Freedom. This is where you will get 2 months of weekly one-on-one coaching with me for a tailor-fit roadmap and systems. Then it will be followed by 3 months of community support where you will finally overcome your unhealthy spending habits, build sustainable money habits and systems in place, replace money anxiety with peace of mind with your money decisions, and finally take the leap for funding your dream property, funding your huge life milestones this year, because you are backed up with the right mindset and systems around money. In the first 60 days of my program, my clients tell me they already have the clarity and confidence when to invest in their first property and how much is enough to make it happen, because I help them with a tailor-fit roadmap and they already have mapped out a plan to make it a reality. Because I realized the biggest thing that actually stops my clients from saving up for that down payment or finally reserving that property is them. They're scared to take the first step. They're scared to actually plan for it. They're scared to actually start saving up for it. They're scared to have a system for it because they think at the back of their heads like, imposible naman yan sa akin eh. Hindi ko kaya yan. Hindi ko afford yan. So they already stop themselves from taking the first step. The first step of planning for it. The first step of just thinking about it. The first step of dreaming like, what kind of property do I want? And planning around what would be enough for me to make that happen. And that is the first step that I guide my clients with, and they realize that when I help them take that first step of planning, of mapping out a plan, of mapping out a roadmap that is tailor-fit to funding their dream property, they realize that it's way more achievable. It's actually within reach if they just had a plan. To get inspired, watch this interview with my client Fatima, whom I guided exactly through this process inside my coaching program, because as a result, she was able to finally make that down payment for the lot property that she had been eyeing for so long. So if you've always been scared of taking risks, if you've always had anxiety around money and that's been preventing you from taking these huge leaps for investing in a property or just investing in general, you'll definitely get some insights and learnings from my client Fatima, because you will realize that the biggest thing that is in the way in funding your dream property is you. And when you finally get out of your own way and build sustainable money habits and systems in place, that's what will allow you to overcome money anxiety and realize that you don't need to have all of the amount of money all at once to be prepared for that property. You just need to have a concrete, crystal clear plan and roadmap to get there. Third thing to consider to make you financially ready to invest in your first property is that your income can cover the monthly payments without feeling deprived or burdened. So there's a general rule of thumb that you can follow to know if your income can afford a property. And this is something that I learned from my husband, because my husband works in the real estate home loans industry. So he shared that it's basically 30% of your income can afford the monthly amortization payments. So for example, let's say your income is 60,000 a month on average. So 30% of that is 18,000. So 18,000 is the amount that you can look for when it comes to the monthly amortization payments. But as you know, I always prefer like making sure that it is personalized to your life stage, personalized to where you are, and this 30% may not be the same for every person. So let's say I have clients who are breadwinners, I have clients who have a family already, or I have clients who are still living with their parents, who are not living on their own, so their living expenses are not really huge or not taking up a huge chunk of their income. Or let's say they're already earning 6 figures and they don't really have huge expenses because they're not living on their own or they're not breadwinners. So all of those different income brackets, life stages, seasons in life would really differ when it comes to how much you can afford in a property. 30% of your income may be easy for someone who is not paying for their own living expenses, but then 30% may not be easy for someone who's already paying for a car loan or who is still paying off debts. So it's so important first that we go back to number one thing to consider is that you have a solid emergency fund. So that's number one. Two is that you have a roadmap to cover your property payments. And then third is really thinking about what is the amount for my income that I can pay for a property that wouldn't make me feel like kipet ako, that wouldn't make me feel like I'm burdened. Because I realize is that sometimes pagpipilitan natin to invest in a property, pero baka naman masyado tayong deprived sa buhay, baka naman hindi na tayo makapag-travel, baka naman hindi na tayo makalabas, baka naman hindi na tayo makabili ng Starbucks, whatever it is that you enjoy doing. And for me, one of the things that is important for me that brings me joy is traveling. And I wanted to make sure that when I invest in the property, it's not something like I would take away my travels. Like, di na makapag-travel for the next 5 years because I have to cover this property, So this is why I'm so passionate about helping my clients in identifying a realistic monthly income that would cover their property monthly payments. This is why I'm so passionate about helping my clients in identifying a realistic monthly income that would allow them to comfortably cover the monthly property payments while also enjoying the fruits of their labor at the present. Because this is what empowers my clients to identify the right earning opportunities to double down on one income stream they actually love doing instead of being pressured of like, I need to add more income streams to cover this property, to cover all the expenses and everything, and then it stresses them out, it exhausts them, and what's the point of having a property if you're just so stressed and exhausted and burnt out in the process? So I love that I get to coach my clients in not only having a sustainable financial system that would allow them to save consistently, build that muscle, build that solid financial foundation, but I also guide them in identifying what are the right earning opportunities for them that they can actually sustain as well. Because when they're clear on the right earning opportunities to sustain, that's also going to be the basis, that's also going to be the foundation for them to feel confident that they can cover the monthly payments for their property. So my clients tell me like they didn't expect that there would be some kind of career coaching in the program as well. So like for Filipino corporate professionals, like I guide them in realizing like, okay, what's the monthly income that they would want to negotiate to their employer or next employer, because this is the target monthly income that would allow them to have the confidence in investing in their first property. Or let's say I have clients who are freelancers who have been earning for a while, and I help them realize how much income is actually enough for them to make a down payment in their first property so that they're not constantly pressured in, I need to earn more, I need to increase my prices, I need to double my prices or my rates agad so that I could invest in this property. Like they realize through our exercises together, through our coaching together, how much is enough on their terms so that they're not constantly pressured about how much all the other freelancers are earning in the industry. This is how I've been helping Filipino freelancers to let go of unaligned clients and actually attract their ideal clients that would help them fund their dream property. And this is what I mean, that when I get to help my clients identify the realistic monthly income that would truly be enough to fund their dream property, to fund their next investment, to fund their huge life milestone, they realize that they become more at peace and at ease with how much they earn and what kind of earning opportunities or what kind of clients they would want to serve in their business. It's the same thing with how I coach small business owners, is that when I guide them in figuring out how much is truly enough for funding their next life milestones, funding their down payment for a property, they realize that they could just double down on the business that they love and double down on that, knowing that they could create financial stability from doing what they love instead of being constantly pressured by, I need to constantly earn more and chase more. And this is what I mean, that you get to overcome money anxiety when you have a crystal clear plan, a crystal clear roadmap in knowing what are the right earning opportunities for me to have that would allow me to be at ease in covering the monthly payments for my property without feeling restricted, deprived, or burnt out in the process. And this is what I love coaching my clients masterminds in our first 60 days together, not only do they build sustainable money habits and systems in place because of my proven and tested process, they also find excitement and purpose again with their career because they're now able to identify the right earning opportunities that would truly be enough to fund their dream property, to fund their next life milestones. This is what I love about the coaching that I do because my program is very holistic. We do life coaching and financial coaching where I help you figure out what you truly want out of life, what's enough to get there, overcome the limiting beliefs and fears and doubts you have around money so that you could finally stick to a sustainable financial system that would allow you to fund your next life milestones one income stream at a time. So if you want to learn how I can coach you through that, check the link in my bio on how you can join my coaching program, Fund Your Freedom, and you can read all the client testimonials from my program so that you can envision how possible it is for you too when you have the right solid financial foundation. And if you want to learn the money skill that allowed me to build my first million pesos net worth of savings with one income stream, check out this video and I will see you there.